Welcome to part 2 of this Dark Eldar vs. Necron 1500 point Batrep. Moving on to Necron turn 3.
Does the Knight's Doomsight come in? No, it does not.
Necron turn 3 movement phase. He first moves his warriors back towards my Venom with the witches in it with the Haywire blasters. After he does that, he moves his remaining warriors over on the right side towards the Venom where he can get a good bunch of Gauss shots off at that. Following that, he moves his Wraiths up to either mop up what comes out of that Venom or to attack the Venom in an assault. Next, he moves his Annihilation Barge over to do a broadside on the Venom as well as drop a blast somewhere. And last, he moves his Tomb Blades over to go after the Venom with the witches as well. This could be a very bad day for the Dark Eldar. Necron shooting phase. The warriors now fire at the witches. 3s to hit, get a ton of hits. 6s to glance. They do one glance. I do have that ever-present Jinx save, which of course doesn't work, and there's a hull point on my Venom with witches. Next, he decides to broadside the other Venom, and he gets about 3 hits, 6s to glance because they are Gauss, and he gets nothing. Next, his other group of warriors fire at the Venom with the Incubi and the Duke and get 4 hits, or a bunch of hits, get 4 glances. I can throw down my 4 Jinx saves, of which I don't get enough, and there is a wrecked Venom from hull points. He then declares a charge with his Wraiths. I'm out of range for my 1 pistol shot, and he fails it, so on to turn 3, Dark Eldar. I move my warriors up. Ravager comes up to try and get rid of that Annihilation Barge. My other Ravager moves up, going after whatever he can happen to see. My Venoms move forward, going after targets of opportunity. My Raider moves forward. It's going to drop as many people as it can out the door because I'm going to try and end this right now before his Doom Scythe comes in. We've got 10 witches. The Homunculus does not join them. Out of my Venom, we drop 5 witches out to go after either his warriors or his Tomb Blades. And then I do an 18-inch move with the Nightwing to try and set up and hopefully maybe not even have to go into assault. I then move the Incubi and Duke Slissus over to try and make a charge at either the Wraiths or the Warriors. Haven't decided which yet. Next, the last Venom moves out of the way of anybody who may want to charge those warriors and sets up to soften them up with 12 splinter shots out of the dual splinter cannons. On to Dark Eldar shooting phase. They first fire all the warriors into the race, hoping to just go ahead and get rid of them. They end up with 6 wounds on them, and after all of the saves and distances, etc., the race end up with 1 dead and 1 with 1 wound left. So Duke Slissus tries to shoot it. He actually hits it. He wounds it, and then with an invulnerable save, he does not die. So we have 1 Wraith left. Next, the Ravager fires into the Annihilation Barge, scoring 3 hits, 2 glances, and ends up just taking off some hull points, so he's down to 1 hull point left. Next, the Blasterborn fire into the Annihilation Barge, and they hit 3 times and get nothing. Now we have a Splinter Cannon going after that 1 Lord that just keeps standing up, score a bunch of wounds, and he fails his first wound and he's dead. Next, the Venom goes into the warriors with the 12 splinter shots, gets about 7 hits, 5 wounds, and he makes all but 2 of his saves, and he loses 2 more warriors. Next, those 5 witches fire into the Tomb Blades. I'm going to assault 2 different directions. They actually get 2 wounds, and he fails 1 save and loses a Tomb Blade. Next, a Venom fires into his warriors, wounding 5. Sorry, wounding 5. And he actually makes all but 2 of his saves and loses another couple warriors. Now checking line of sight, the homunculus can fire at a tomb blade. He actually hits, and that hex rifle does a rending wound, and that is the end of a tomb blade. The other venom has line of sight on the warriors, and it fires 12 shots into the remaining 3 warriors, gets a bunch of hits, ends up not getting very many wounds, out of that many. But he ends up failing 2 wounds, and he is down to one warrior left. So now we're down to 1 warrior and 1 tomb blade. I had to choose. My razor wing decided to fire its 2 dark lances into the tomb blade, scoring 1 wound at AP2, and that is the end of the tomb blades. Time for reanimation after the shooting phase. 1 of those warriors stood up, and that was it. However, he rolls, and he needs a 4. He gets a 5, and the Overlord stands up one more time. The Duke and the Incubi charge in. They actually make it. They hit the Wraith. The Wraith then takes a first shot at the Incubi. We didn't catch that roll, but everybody's initiative 1, and he kills 2 Incubi. Next, we roll. The Duke rolls. He actually gets 3 hits and 3 wounds, and the Incubi goes down. All right, now that the Wraith is gone, the Witches charge the Warriors. He gets 4 Overwatch shots, and he makes no hits, so the Witches then roll for their charge distance, and just double ones would have kept them from making it. So they are now in combat. They strike with their charge. The Blues are razor flails. They get a ton of hits. They reroll 2 wounds, getting 1 more, so here are all his saves on his 2 poor warriors, and he fails enough that his warriors are gone. On to Necron's turn 4. He wanted to bring in his Doom Scythe and see if he could come back. He's got a squad of warriors looking right at Duke Slissus and 2 Incubi. They still have Ravagers, Warriors, Razor Wing, lots of vehicles with a couple hull points knocked off of them, and a mobilized vehicle. He's got his Overlord. He does have that Annihilation Barge, but that is about it. I don't think the Doom Scythe can make the turn, but he wants to try. So on to turn 4 Necrons. In comes the Doom Scythe. He has a hard time deciding where to put it, but he sets it up for a perfect death shot on 3 vehicles. That was pretty slick. He moves his warriors over. Not a whole lot that they're going to be able to do except shoot and then charge. And then after he's done moving that, he moves his Overlord just for kicks. Fires his Annihilation Barge at the warriors with a large blast template. He basically gets a direct hit, and all those warriors under it die. I think he ends up with one doesn't wound, and that's it. So there goes 8 warriors down the tubes. Boy, if he'd hit earlier in the game, that might have made a big difference. Next, he fires his warriors into the Incubi and Duke Slissus, and scores a whole bunch of hits. Does not get that many wounds, all things considered. And oh, he got 10 wounds, that's right. So Duke Slissus is in front. That's 2 saves. That's a 3rd save. That's a 4th save. That's a 5th save. That's a 6th save. Here we go, number 7, number 8, number 9, and can he take out the Shadow Field on number 10? No, he can't. 10 saves. Okay, Doom Scythe moves forward. He drops his point just a couple inches in front of the Doom Scythe. He rolls for his distance and ends up getting 15 inches, which is enough to hit all 3 vehicles. He rolls. He does hit the Venom. I roll a Jinx save and don't get it, so the Venom gets hit. He rolls on the greater, and he actually misses with a 1, so he does not wound. And then on the next Venom with the Rax, he gets a hit. And finally, a Jinx save, only the second of the game. So for all of that destructive capability, he ends up only doing a hull point and immobilizing the Venom. So at this point...
You know what I have to say right now?
What?
We surrender!